Okay, you found some land, and it's great land. It's your dreamland, or it'll do land, and the owner will even finance it for you. How cool! Great, congratulations. But there are a couple things you need to watch out before you put your John Hancock on there. I don't know what I'm thinking. Here's 5 things you need to consider before you agree to owner financing. Number one is you're probably going to pay a higher price for that land. Most people who own or finance aren't going to negotiate on the price. Maybe a little. They'll negotiate a lot more if you go to the bank and say, hey, here's a stack of cash. Let's negotiate for your land. When they're the bank, they don't have to. They know that if you don't buy it, somebody else will. And even if you get a decent price, you're probably going to pay higher on interest rate as well. Where you may get 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know what Joe's got it jacked up to now. You may pay as high as 10 or 12 to someone who's owner financing. Keep that in mind, because that can, you know, some of y'all get hung up on price per acre. Okay, price per acre should not even come into the equation. Well, my God, I can buy $2,000 an acre, man. Do it then. What are you griping about? Um, the only thing that should matter is it the land you want? Can you afford it? Can you afford the payments? And can you get a contract on it? That's it. If it's 50,000 an acre, but you really like it for whatever reason, and you can afford it, buy it. So just keep that in mind. Probably going to pay, higher price and or maybe even higher interest. Yeah, man, the woods are like real fidgety today. I mean, just the birds are fidgety. It's a nice day. It warmed up, almost 70 today. Has been cold, but I don't know if you can hear like 4 or 5 squirrels around me barking. They've been fidgety all day. Something is just got all the critters a little fidgety today. So I don't know. Wasps are out now. I've killed like 3 today. So anyway, let's go on to number two. Number two, mortgage issues. And this is so important. I see people getting tripped up over this all the time. If they have a mortgage on that land that they're trying to sell you, then their mortgage holder may say, you know what? We don't want you to owner finance that land. Or you have to buy it from, you have to pay it off before you can owner finance it. So that may mean then the person who's wanting to own or finance you this land will comes to you and say, okay, you're going to have a big down payment. So help me pay off this land so I can sell it to you. The other issues are while the person who's owner financing it may not have no restrictions on the land, the mortgage lender may, or the other way around, or both of them may have issues. I have seen owner finance land say you cannot cut any tree over 3 inches or something like that until you pay off the land. Wait a minute, I'm buying the land. It's going to be 10 years or 5 years or whatever, and you're telling me I can't cut nothing over 3 inches until I own the land? I get that, but that's not the way it would happen if you went and got a mortgage and just paid off the land, or bought the land with a mortgage and then paid off the bank or mortgage company, whatever. I've seen lots in squirrel just going berserk out there. I've seen land in some of these, quote unquote subdivisions that aren't really subdivisions. They're just lots out in the country someplace. But I've seen those have a like a HOA restrictions on them, but the person who's owner finance it doesn't tell you that, and you're thinking you can do anything with the land, whereas what really is, because that those requirements, stipulations, whatever, they go down. They go with the owners, whoever buys the land, and they may have restrictions like no building under 1,500 square feet, or no longer than 6 months without getting water and electric and all this. You don't know that. So be, I mean, this kind of brings me back to, is the title, is the person who's trying to own or finance this where you have a free and clear title on the land? If not, you really want to do your research, because people get screwed over this all the time. All the time. I hear it all the time. Probably one of the biggest things they get screwed over. One or two. Not knowing that if there's, well, it's off-grid Bob, and me and off-grid Bob's families, we've been 200 years, our families know each other. We've always been good to each other. Off-grid Bob wouldn't do a thing to hurt me or my family. Please don't be that freaking naive. So you want to make sure. Another issue I've seen before is off-grid Bob goes to sell you this land, and what you don't know is that on-grid Jane is his ex-wife, and she owns half that land. She's not selling. But off-grid Bob doesn't tell her. And so you spend all these years making what you think are payments to buy this land, because you bought it without a contract or a crappy contract, and all of a sudden on-grid Jane finds out, guess what? You just paid for 5 years for nothing. Go find you another piece of land. Live and learn. Because on-grid Jane wants that land. Or she wants to sell it, or she wants to move her brother-in-law, whatever. Stuff like this goes on all the time. Because people go into these owner finance situations without doing your due diligence. So, same thing, off-grid Bob. He's selling you land. What he doesn't tell you is, he's got 8 brothers and sisters. They all own that land too. You just made payments to off-grid Bob, and these other 8 people want their money too, or else you're walking. I don't know how many times I've seen that happen. And there's nothing you can do. You pick up your stuff and go. You just paid these people 5 years, or you paid off-grid Bob 5 years worth of rent payments when you thinking you were paying, a mortgage. Sorry. Happens all the time. All the time. Can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen. I know right now where there's 25 acres. The man left it in his will to his 8 kids. That's where I got that number for. Left it 8 kids. Each kid owns 1/8 of 25 acres. Wait a minute. 8 doesn't go in 25 evenly, does it? No, it doesn't. But he, instead of, and this doesn't make no sense to me. Instead of dividing it up, they said this 25 acres has 8 owners. Now, one of those people got into debt to a local attorney and gave him his 1/8 of that land. Attorney turned around and sold that 1/8 to somebody. That somebody goes in there and does whatever he wants on the whole 25 acres. Nobody, from the story I hear, nobody can stop him from doing it because he owns 1/8. Nobody knows what 1/8 anybody owns because they never did the survey, and it was never specifically hammered out what 1/8 they owned. They all own the 25 acres. So he goes in there, he does whatever, he hunts it, and it's in a good hunting spot. He hunts it, and I said, that doesn't seem like that could be legal. Don't know if it is or not. But because what would stop another 1/8 owner going right in the middle and building a big house or a driveway and say, "This is my 1/8"? No, they would all own 1/8 of your house and whatever yard, whatever. So you gotta watch out for stuff like that, people. You gotta watch out. That's why you gotta know who owns that land. Go to the courthouse and look up the land you want and make sure it's free and clear. And if there's any lien holders, and you gotta do. It's better just to hire a real estate attorney for your corner. Well, off-grid Bob, we use his attorney. I've known attorney's family for 100 years. He's just good as gold. That's how you get bent over and screwed. It's just like I see people buying houses and they're going to go with a seller's real estate agent. Oh my gosh, that is such a huge error. And why? We just don't want to bring in our own real estate. Why would we? Because that seller's real estate agent fiduciary responsibility is to this seller, not to you. They can lie to you like a dog. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. That's why you get your own representation. And the funny thing is, it doesn't cost you a damn thing. So anyway, on to number 3. This is a little different. I don't know if it's right. It really could be put into a disadvantage, but what happens? I don't know even how to label this. What would happen if the person you're buying that land from, or the company, what happens if that person dies, or that company goes out of business? What happens then? I've seen people owner finance their land, die, and in the will the land went to the kids. Guess what? You just lost your land. Anything you built on, any improvement, you just lost it, folks. This is where, unless you got a ironclad contract, this is probably the second place, first or second place, I see people screw up on their owner finance land. They don't get a contract, or they get a weak one that the person who's selling them just gives them. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be a crappy contract, but what happens in these instances? This is where you pay a real estate attorney a couple $100 to look this thing over and advise you whether it's a good contract to sign or not. Because most time it only has the seller's best interest at stake, not yours. You want somebody in your corner. Not, well, I read this big long word here and I thought it meant this, but it turned out to mean that. Who knew? Well, a real estate attorney, well, I don't want to pay $300 for real estate attorney. That's just stupid. Good. You paid 5 years on land and built a house and outbuilding stuff, and you just gave it away. Oh, how smart was that? So you want a contract. I guess if this is a reason, it'd be a disadvantage, it'd be weak contracts. You want a contract that lays out these. What happens if this person dies? What happens if they own back taxes and Uncle Sam comes and takes all their assets? Uh-oh. Do you own now? Do you have it? What if there's a tax lien on there? Do you own a new tax lien? Now, I don't know how this would work. Again, we covered mortgages, pre-existing mortgages. But what happens if they go refinance the land after you bought it? I believe that's illegal, but I'm not an expert, so I don't know. But what happens? Does the contract lay this out? I'll tell you something I run into with this land. The guy said, I told him, I said, when we were talking about payments, he went, I think it's a company. I think they're kind of shady. But it went up on price on this land twice from the time I inquired, which was just a week or so, to, until I actually told him I wanted it. And claimed, oh, I thought you meant that land down there. No, you're a liar, because the ad I seen was about a year old. No, and when he shot me this one price, oh, that's about 1,000 more than you. Okay, it went up. Okay, I understand. And then when the final price came down, it was even more. But I didn't care. I mean, I did kind of care, but I wanted the land. I wanted where it was. I could easily afford it. I wanted it. So while it did bother me, it didn't stop me from getting land. Again, don't get hung up over stupid crap. So anyway, he tells me in a Facebook message saying, I said, well, when our payments due, I said, what happens if I'm a little late or something like that? I said, something comes up. Don't worry about it. As long as you pay within that month, I don't care as long as I get the money. Sounds reasonable to me, but what did my contract say? Contract said 5 days, then you're late. Then there will be a late fee assessed. Okay. But he's a good old boy. He wouldn't lie to me, would he? No, as long as he got his money, he didn't care. So about that first, about 3 years, I had that little health issue thing going on. And I was about 3 weeks late. And I sent him money. Next month come on, since I was so late the previous month, I was a little late, like a week or so late on that next month. Then I got the email. You've been late twice. If you continue to be late on your payment, we're going to foreclose and start what's that word? Gosh, I had it in my head. Not foreclosure, basically foreclosure. When they kick you out? What is that? Oh man, I had it in my head just earlier. Hold on, let me take a break while I think about this. Eviction. We're going to start eviction processes. Then I go, wait a minute. How do you know I was even on land? I never told you I was on the land. Guess who come out checking on the land at least once? I get it. That's cool. I'm thinking if eviction process, and not foreclosure, eviction. So they knew I was living out here. That's cool. So I went back, and the next month I was on time, and have been ever since. So don't go by what they tell you. Go by what your contract says, because in court, that word of mouth or, well, I got this Facebook message. He said I could be late for 6 months and nothing would happen. What does the contract say? That's what it's going to come down to. So gotta know these things. You need a good contract. Again, that's where your real estate attorney is going to come into play. Your real estate, not his brothers, not his sisters, ex-wives, whatever. Yours. Well, I know this old gal. She used to work for a real estate attorney. She said it's all good. I don't have to pay $300 for some damn attorney. Okay. Take your chances. If you're that naive, take your chances. Okay. Now, this generally happens when there's a house involved. I'm sure it happens on raw land as well. But sometimes you'll have an agreement, seller finance agreement, where you pay 5 years or X number of years, and at the end there's a balloon payment. Man, I doubt I would ever go for one of those. I might, but you don't know what's going to happen. I would just soon go to a bank or something. Or everybody thinks, well, I'll just pay it off before that balloon payment comes. You don't know what's going to happen down the road. You get, let's say there's a $20,000 payment in the 5 years balloon payment. 4 years and 10 months in, you have the money saved up, but something comes along, health issues or something, your truck breaks down, whatever. You got to spend some of that money. But I know old off-grid Bob, he'll let me work like that. 5 years come, guess what? Off-grid Bob ain't so friendly anymore. He wants you off. You just lost everything. 5 years of everything. Goodbye. You don't have the balloon payment. Goodbye. See ya. Watch out for that. watch out for these balloon payments, or you know something that is not out of the ordinary, or something that is out of the ordinary, not out of the ordinary. I guess I'm a little fidgety today too. I don't know what it is. But I feel good. Been out in the woods this morning scouting for deer. Bought me a new tree stand. Don't have a place to put it, but it was on sale, so you buy it, right? I'll find someplace to put it. So anyway, this kind of goes back. I touched on this earlier about being a dishonest seller. This is why people cannot drill this into your heads enough. Get a real estate attorney in your corner to look over the contract or to write a contract. I don't know how many people I know, I've heard, they just go by, okay, I just have to, he just said all I did is start paying on it and all this. Really? Are you really that naive? No, this world revolves around contracts. You need a written contract, notarized, you and the seller. Okay? At the very least, pay the real estate attorney his money to either look over the contract that the seller has, or to write a contract or whatever. I don't care how much it costs. Don't care. You can shop around, get the lowest price you want, but I would not buy a piece of land without a contract. It's stupid to do so. It's extremely stupid. One of the stupidest things you could ever do. But you don't know. I know, like I told you before, I know Off-Grid Bob and his family. Our families go back 200 years. Our granddads fought in the war. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Couldn't care less. Because money makes people do seriously strange things. Okay? And you know that. So, if Off-Grid Bob starts to lose his house, for whatever reason, and then he's going to be looking for some money, and hey, I got that land. We ain't got a contract on it. Yeah, I know our families go back 200 years, and our granddads fought in the war and all this. But somebody, some Chinese, just offered me a big bundle of cash for that land. Well, I'm going to have to screw Mr. Off-Gridder over. Oh, well, lucky you. So just keep that in mind. Good grief. That thing burns me up when I see. Here a while back, some people moved on land, no contract, just started paying the guy, and it was a family, young family, and that's what really grinds my gears. Somebody takes advantage of people out there busting their butt trying to get started or get ahead in the world, and people. But whoever they was buying it for just up and sold the land. But we're buying it. Oh, no, you were renting it. No, you said we were buying it. No, I never said that. No. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a contract? No contract. You just took my word. No, you were renting it. And guess what? You have less than 30 days to get off because the new owners just paid a pile of cash for it. Man, I tell you what, that really gets my ugh. So anyway, guys, girls, children of all ages, these are the 5 things you really need to watch out for when you're buying owner finance land. Okay, the bonus, or you could count it as a regular one, whatever. And this, again, depends on your state's laws concerning owner financing. Some may have stipulations, some may not. But really, most of these owner finance contracts make it a lot easier for the seller to foreclose on your land. If you're financing it through, say, a bank or mortgage company, you might miss a payment, might miss it go a month, maybe 2 months, sometimes 3 months before they start foreclosure procedures. Owner finance, you may miss a day or two and they can foreclose on you. Always make sure a contract stipulates the conditions that they can foreclose on you, because I've heard people bragging before that they sold land 4 or 5 times because they had to foreclose on it because, whatever reason. And it was obvious that these people were doing nothing but flipping the land. And every time the new owners, they put their down payment and they make payments and they miss a payment, or, they're 5 days late or 10 days late, whatever, they would foreclose on them. Those people would lose their money, their down payment, and the payments and the land. So that's a big negative towards owner financing. It all comes down to a strong contract. And again, don't be a cheapskate. Spend a couple $100 for a real estate attorney to either draw you up a contract or look over the one that the seller has. If you ain't got a couple $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, whatever, for an attorney to look over that contract, you have no business buying land. Okay, just say it. Just say it. Save up till you do. Okay, back to our regular scheduled program. Do your own diligence. Protect yourself. So I hope this has helped some of y'all. There's some great opportunities out there to own land. I am working on a video of how to find off-grid properties. Guys, girls, YouTubers, it's just, my time is so limited anymore that these videos here are quick to do. Quick and easy, minimal editing. It's like the compost video I have coming up. I've been working on that for a year now. And other videos that takes a lot more time, a lot more editing. It's just hard for me to get them out. I have a bunch of content already done. I just got to get it edited. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Got any questions? Like I said, I'm not a land expert or real estate expert by any means. I've just been doing this over 4 decades. I kind of got a handle on what to and not to do. And that's, the mistakes I've made, mistakes I see other people making. Hopefully I can keep you from making a couple of those. So anyway, catch you on the next one.